This is Eitan Weinstein.
And I'm Naor Menninger, and you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys.
This podcast is made in collaboration with the Jewish Journal. Check them out at jewishjournal.com. Also in collaboration with Arutz Sheva, israelnationalnews.com. And last but not least, in collaboration with Australian Jewish News. Check them out at ajn.timesofisrael.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, visit 2njb.com/donate. Israel is one of the youngest democracies on the face of the planet. If you turn on the news here in Israel, or a reality TV show for that matter, even if you just go out to buy a carton of milk at the supermarket, you're bound to hear people arguing. Everyone here has a strong opinion, and they're not afraid to share it. Right wing, left wing, you name it. In Israel, free speech is the word. But every once in a while, someone says something that stretches the boundaries and tests the tolerance of Israelis. Today, we're joined by someone who basically does this every time he speaks, Professor Amir Hetsroni. From the time he said that Israel would have been better off without its Mizrachi Jews, who came from Arab-speaking countries, and the time he engraved anti-Zionist messages on his parents' graves, to the time he ridiculed Israel's fallen soldiers for being, quote, idiots who didn't know how to avoid the draft. Professor Hetsroni has been involved in countless controversies, and he definitely hasn't escaped unscathed. Professor Hetsroni previously taught communications at Ariel University and currently teaches at Koch University in Turkey. Koch University in Turkey. Today we are joined by Professor Amir Hetsroni to talk about his career, his worldviews, and an upcoming documentary film about him. So buckle up, here we go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
So where do we start?
Do you regret anything you said?
In my entire life, I guess so, but none of the things that you have just mentioned.
What do you regret then?
In my entire life, things that I have said, God knows. I don't know. I probably said too many times to a woman, I love you, and I will never leave you. These kind of things.
That's what you regret out of it all?
Yes.
Okay. So where do we start? Let's start with the anti-Zionism.
Okay.
Because Amir asked you, Eitan.
Yeah, why I moved here to begin with, but I want to let's start with what we mentioned. Why I don't agree with, but I can maybe understand having an anti-Zionist approach, but why put it on your parents' graves?
What did you put?
It's very difficult to translate it literally to English, but I was actually trying to...
With the mask, it's very hard to hear you.
עכשיו יותר טוב?
Yeah.
רגע, just a second.
There you go.
רגע.
It.
That's it.
There you go. Perfect.
What I was doing, I took very mediocre people, and I somehow managed, I think quite successfully, since the place has become, at least for a period, a kind of a tourist attraction, I managed to... what I was doing is I was trying to wrap up all of these mundane things that have characterized their lives into something that is more meaningful. He lost his Polish citizenship. She didn't lose her Polish citizenship. He took part in war crimes against the Arabs. Then he repented. She had a pension, budgetary pension. His pension was not as good as her pension. This sort of thing. This is what people, mundane people, mediocre middle-class people, are doing with their lives. They don't change the world. They don't discover new elements in the periodic table. This is what they do. Work, fart, flirt. That's life.
So you were making something of their lives by putting these statements on there.
It was not necessarily the most... I said things that are more anti-Zionist, I believe, than what I was saying there.
For example?
I said that Israel is the North Korea of the Middle East. I said, and I still proclaim, that it would have been better if the state had not been established. I think that we should have said yes to the Inquisition in the late 15th century.
And
what I said about my parents was not so anti-Zionist.
And you only regret saying I love you to a few women. Why is Israel the North Korea of the Middle East?
Look, let's just, as a tiny example, take what happened yesterday. An Israeli citizen from a village in the north, Majda Krum, whose land has been confiscated in order to establish the ugly development town named Ariel, not Ariel, Carmiel, as if it matters. They all look the same, ugly, similarly ugly. So she fell in love with a Lebanese guy, not even particularly religious, at least according to the dress code. She doesn't wear all of this ugly mop on her head. He's not like full beard. And they cannot naturalize in Israel, so they move to Lebanon. And then the Israeli Secret Service comes to them. Why do you meet with your childhood friends in Turkey and you talk bad things about Israel, you blaspheme Israel, and they try to threaten them? Why are you
She
kidding?
was accused for trying to do
She
espionage.
met with her childhood
for-
friends. She has the right to meet her childhood friends. She actually, in the distant world, she would meet with her childhood friends in Israel,
But
and
just
not in
for
Turkey.
context, because our audience might not know, she was approached by the Shin Bet. They were claiming she tried to recruit for Hezbollah agents. That
But
was the
what
claim.
can these childhood friends of her do? You're talking about I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be honest. You're talking about again lower class Arabs from the north. What can they reveal? These people can reveal to the Hezbollah where some idiotic low tech factory is located. What information
But
can they convey?
This seems to be on the very fringe, I mean, of Israeli society. Israeli society, mainstream society, as you said, normal, mediocre people are living in North Korea?
The fact that, I mean, and let's just for the sake of finishing the story, say what she said. She said the only thing that they are actually accusing her is the fact that she married a person who is non-Israeli, true, anti-Zionist, true, extremely anti-Zionist, even more true. So what? So what? She has the right to live with whoever she wants to live with. She has to give report as to who she's going to bed with. You will give report to who you're going to bed tonight. Now, what you said, whether it's, I mean, how other people are living. Yes, obviously, mediocre people live mediocre life. But it doesn't change the fact that this is not a democracy. In a democracy, the Secret Service is not chasing after your location according to your mobile.
No, but mediocre people don't live a mediocre life in North Korea. Mediocre people, I mean, if you even utter similar words that you're uttering, for example, against the regime in North Korea, you are immediately arrested. And to say the least.
Israel is the North Korea of the Middle East. I didn't say that Israel is similar to North Korea. I said this is the North Korea of the Middle East.
So we're better than North Korea.
You're better than North Korea, yeah.
Okay. I take that as a comfort, as a consolation.
We have a scoop.
Wait, are we more like North Korea than Iran or Syria or
Iran is not in the Middle, is not part of the Middle East. It's the Near East. It's not Middle
Okay,
East. Middle
so-
East ends around Iraq.
so are we more North Korea than Syria or Iraq?
Syria is not a country. It's a mess.
So are we the only country in the Middle East?
Oh, but Jordan is a dictatorship.
More or less, you are on par. Same.
Same as
with
Jordan.
Jordan.
Dizer bedrek. Almost Dizer bedrek. You are also, don't forget that Israel's democracy record is deteriorating and not rising. From year to year, you are becoming less democratic and not more democratic. So
Yeah, but if
it's
you are-
actually like a stock that is sliding downhill.
But if you are an Arab living in Israel, a non-Jew living in Israel, you have the right to vote. I mean, many Arabs sit in the parliament as members of Knesset.
Arabs.
There's an
You
Arab
have the right
Supreme.
to vote.
One more
but
point.
that is the only thing. Look,
No,
you have the
Arab-
right to
but
vote,
Arabs in the
but their party is not considered a legitimate party to take part in any coalition.
Well, yeah, but that's exactly the point of democracy, is being able to say, I don't agree with you, I don't think you're legitimate, you don't think I'm legitimate.
And if you confiscate them in the parliament legitimately, this makes it a very good case of democracy. So. Kurds also have the right to vote in Turkey, and they have their party also. So is Turkey
Yeah, but they were
a
also-
full-fledged democracy? No.
Yeah, but they're also very much persecuted.
Arabs are also persecuted. Look, I mean, give me some names of Arabs. How many names can you give me of Arabs who have reached senior positions in governmental offices? Arabs who made into
Ahmed Tibi.
It's
He
not
was
governmental.
voted. It's not
It's not
governmental
governmental.
position. It's not governmental.
Knesset. It's parliament.
You mean like in the
Yeah,
executive
like,
branch?
yeah,
You have
like
judge,
a
you have a judge, Supreme
yeah,
Court
yeah,
judge.
there is one seat reserved for a Supreme Court judge. who is
But-
Arab.
But there's
You're
9
right.
Supreme Court judges, right? Or
No, there are
13, 13 Supreme Court judges.
But Professor
so that's-
Hetsroni, for example, if you look at the numbers, in the past decade, I think Arabs have doubled their numbers in universities in Israel.
You
for
cannot
example.
you cannot prevent them from entering university. If they pass the exams, they pass the
Yeah,
exams.
but why would they go to the university if they can do? I mean, I think they feel they do have options and choices and hope for the future. Otherwise, why would they go and study?
They got
and
tired of working as car mechanics, and since they needed to all of a
Perfect.
sudden they needed to give receipts, their profits have decreased tremendously.
But you said we're the same as Jordan, so I'm trying to see how many parliament members.
I didn't say
are
the
there.
same as Jordan.
You said
I
more
said,
or less.
I said more or less.
Drek.
More or less, same
The same.
Drek, yes.
Yeah, but
Because
there's
Israel is more or less the same Drek as Jordan.
there, the Palestinians are like 80%, right? Being controlled by a minority of one family, one tribe, without elections, without any representation, and they can do anything about it.
And here you have a prime minister sitting like super glue into his chair, despite the fact that he's facing very serious criminal charges, and says that no matter what, he's staying there. No matter what, he's there.
He's not saying no matter what.
He's saying more or less no matter what. You already see it, and he says that everyone who is trying to prosecute him is all of a sudden charged with A, B, C, and things that are entirely irrelevant. I mean, let's say that everything that he says about the Attorney General are true. Everything that he says is true.
Okay.
How on earth does it change or decrease the level, the severity of his own crime? How is it related?
But
It's
he
totally
hasn't
unrelated.
committed a crime. Because we live in a democracy, he hasn't yet committed a crime.
Yeah,
Meaning
but
he's not
assuming
convicted.
he committed, okay? Assuming he
yeah, well,
committed. How
I
is
could
it related?
I could assume that you
Assuming he
committed
but
a
no,
crime
but
and
it's
ask
here-
why
but
aren't
no,
you
but
in
the
jail?
but the point is that the guy is saying that they cannot prosecute me because they are ABC, and this ABC is not relevant to anything. Let's say that Mendelblit did try to or was involved in some kind of a camouflage or silencing some whatever thing in our past case 10 years ago. How on earth is it related to the fact that this Netanyahu loves to get gifts? How is it related? In any sort of way, it's unrelated.
But I don't see how that's related to the idea that he shouldn't be sitting as prime minister. Right
Because
now,
I
he
think
is
that
abiding by
somebody
the
who
law.
is facing these kind of charges should not be sitting in a prime minister's chair.
That's
But you
that's
can
a,
run-
Then,
And
no,
I said
wait,
it
that's
also-
a that's a,
I said it also about Olmert.
that's perfectly fine, and that's a political disagreement that you can have with anybody. But from there to say that Israel is North Korea is quite a jump. I'm wondering, is there a country in the world that you think is worth emulating?
Worth in what sense?
Do you think that there's a country in the world that kind of imbues positive values for the most part, and you think you wish you could live there?
Yeah, plenty of countries. I think in general we should aspire to be like Europe. And I think, why did I say that establishing the state of Israel was a gross mistake, a gross error in my opinion? Because we could have, instead of establishing this ugly Levantine state, we could have said to the Brits, we want to become part of the UK. That's it.
Why would they give us that?
You could have asked. Maybe they would have said no. But did you ask? No. Instead of it, you committed terror act against them. And not only that, you missed your chances of joining the UK, you actually caused them to leave sooner. It was a big mistake. I mean, would you prefer now to have Netanyahu or Johnson with all of his disadvantages? And his disadvantages are numerous. Although I did like the article that he wrote today. But I mean, in general, where would you prefer your capital to be? Jerusalem or London? I think that 99% of the people in Israel would say they would prefer to be British, although now when they left the EU, it's becoming a bit problematic. But we
Really,
could
you think
convince them not to leave the
99% of the country would prefer to
Yes,
be in? But
I'm
that's
sure.
That's completely detached
No, I'm
from
sure, and I will
reality.
explain to you why. Look, if Israel was such a great success, as you are thinking that it is an amazing success, it is an attempt, a chance that made it. You think so or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if you think so, why the hell there are such long lines for foreign passports? Do you know of any country in the world that is so successful and all the people from right to left, from old to young, from female to male, including genderqueer, everybody stands on line for an idiotic Portuguese passport, Lithuanian passport, Polish passport, Bulgarian passport? There is no country in the world. In Bulgaria, they don't chase after Portuguese passport as you chase after them, which means because the reason is that this place is dreck, big dreck.
No, I don't.
It's an
out of
insurance
here.
policy.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't think nobody's there
This is
isn't
the fact that
there
everybody's
isn't a
chasing
mass
after this
there
place.
isn't mass emigration. There's not
On the
tons,
contrary, now-
thousands and thousands and thousands of people aren't leaving Israel. They're getting these passports and they're holding them. Why? Because it's nice to have dual citizenship.
So why Bulgarians are not chasing after second passport? Which country?
because
They're
they
part of
can't.
the EU.
No,
They're
because
part-
they can't.
In which countries you see this chase after foreign passports? In third world, second-rate countries.
No. In
This is the truth.
in third world countries, you see mass attempt to leave the country. You don't see mass lines just to wait for a passport, get the passport, and stay. The people aren't leaving en masse. They're just trying to get another passport for ease of travel, for
No,
whatever
first of
benefits
all,
they might get.
because you're afraid that one day they're gonna nuke us. and
Maybe
then-
I don't know if that's
an
the. I
insurance
don't know what
policy.
the reason is, but the point is that if the claim that so many people are dying to leave this horrible place was true, they wouldn't just get the passports. They would get the passports and leave.
You have a foreign passport?
I do.
You also?
No, I would have if I could.
Okay, you don't count.
Yeah.
You have a foreign passport.
No, but wait, you would have,
I
but
would.
if you could. But
Yeah.
would
Ah,
you
you
leave?
are? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But would you
In other
leave?
words, this
No.
is vote of lack of confidence in Zionism.
No,
Vote
but
of-
he's
Why?
but he's saying
as
he
long as
wouldn't
I
leave.
live here, am I not putting my confidence in here?
The fact that you apply for a foreign passport is a vote of lack of confidence in Israel. Full stop. That's the truth.
I would say it's a vote of confidence because the fact that you now have the opportunity to leave and you don't is a vote of confidence. It's saying I can leave and I choose not to. It's even
You are
stronger.
saying, first, from a decorative standpoint, having a
hear you, my friend.
from a decorative standpoint, having a second passport means that you are seeing yourself not solely as Israeli, but also as, what are you?
American.
American. Okay. So you're saying that I'm half Israeli, half American, or maybe 60% Israeli, but 40% American. I'm not solely Israeli. This is one thing. This is the decorative standpoint. Now, from a practical standpoint, you're saying Israel is not such a safe haven. Something might go wrong here. It doesn't give me all the opportunities I deserve and I want to have, and therefore I want to have more options. And you don't see it in other countries. I mean, not in countries that are at the highest tier of
You see
income.
it in Italy, you
at the
see it in
that's-
Greece.
Yeah, that's at the basis of economics is that humans are always searching for more options. Anybody, no matter how good they have it, will search for more options. But don't you think it's beautiful that we can have this conversation?
I have these conversations in Turkey. Turkey is a dictatorship, and I all the time tell to my students at Coach that if I were them, I would have done not invest my money in studying the junk that they are studying. Junk is with me. I mean, because my studies there are completely junk and totally unnecessary. Instead of it, I would take all of this money and arrange myself fake paper marriage with somebody with a foreign passport, and it's expensive.
Wait, but
I say to
can you
students
say
out
anything
loud, out
to the
in the
students?
open.
Can you talk against Erdogan in the university? No.
It's irrelevant. I don't care about Erdogan. I care about the
It's a bit
future of my
relevant.
students. Yeah,
It's a bit
it's irrelevant because I don't care about
my
Turkish
professor at
politics.
university talks out against Bibi at least once or twice.
No,
a
but I
lesson.
care about the future of my students. And if I tell them that if I were them, I would have done anything to get a foreign passport, even fake a romance in order to somehow marry somebody with a foreign passport and escape Turkey. I think
And
that I'm critical enough of Turkey.
Even including marrying an Israeli and run away here?
He already had.
Between Israel and Turkey, yeah, Israel is better.
Okay, wait. I have a question for you.
Yes.
That this is
The food
gonna
is
be
better. Is
This-
just as good though.
No,
I don't
Turkish food
know.
is not that great.
No?
No, you want to taste? I brought you some.
Oh, what did you bring us?
Baklava?
Yes, take it.
Wow, thank you.
Oh. From Turkey?
No, from the territories.
Okay.
That's nice.
No, the ones that
Thank
from
you.
Turkey is already kaput. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you have anything nice to say about Israel?
Long
As
pause.
what? As a state, as a place, as a climate, as a
However-
botanic garden, as what?
However you want to take it.
It's very difficult for me.
So, even if
as
I
a
give you all the
society-
options,
As a society,
There is nothing I like here. I mean, it's an ugly landscape. Is ugly. People are ugly. I mean,
you
it's
like
not,
the view from my window when you got in.
in general, I'm saying that as in terms of urban landscape, it's not bad. I don't like urban landscape.
You don't like it.
No, I don't like Middle
Okay.
East. Yeah, it's relatively green, but all in all, between you and me, you know that this country is very, very, very dreary and very, very arid, and it's not. It's actually on the verge of a desert. I don't like the scenery. I don't like the climate. I don't like the people. I don't like the culture. The culture is very, very, very highly emphasizing family and kids. These are things that I disdain.
But don't you have all these inside you since you grew up? Yes.
you disdain family and kids.
Yes.
Why?
I don't like it. It doesn't have anything to do with Zionism. I don't like. I don't like the concept. I think that
Did
the
you like your family?
Not particularly. I wrote a
Why
book
not?
about it. I wrote a novel about it.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, my first novel, Mixed Nuts, or it was actually Pitzuchim in Hebrew, so it's Mixed Nuts, but the translation is problematic. It's not really Mixed Nuts. It was named after a quiz show. It is about growing up in Israel in the 80s, and it more or less shows you what I think about my.
Can you give us like
taste
in
book,
a
a taste
nutshell?
of the book? Yeah, the book is set against the background of the First Lebanon War, and I'm trying to portray how it was to go against the mainstream and be against a war that was very much at the beginning, at least within the consensus, and against Israeli soldiers and with parents that are not functioning.
Well, how not functioning?
As not functioning. You should read the book.
Okay. But I mean, there's not functioning as in not working or not
Depressed.
functioning. as in-
Not functioning as in non-communicating, mainly.
I see.
But I was trying to ask, you have inside you all the things that you despise because you grew up here, you speak the language, right? You come from a Jewish family, you grew up in Israel, you eat falafel.
It's ridiculous what you're saying.
Isn't it a part of you?
No,
Why?
no, it's ridiculous. Because look, let's take Itzik the Chinese. Okay, this first
Okay, you gotta
propaganda agent of the Chinese Communist Party.
He's a guy, a YouTube and Facebook personality who is paid by the Chinese government to speak in Hebrew Chinese propaganda on Facebook.
Speaks
He's
fluent
a
Hebrew.
radio newscaster in Hebrew. He
Yes.
speaks very good Hebrew, almost perfect, I would
Yeah.
say.
Struck a deal with Khan, Israel Public Broadcasting Corporation.
Yeah.
They have an official deal, or they
Yes,
just
yes.
Yeah,
An
yeah,
official deal between the Chinese government and.
I didn't know that they went as far
Yes.
as having an official deal.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah.
why I hate Khan. What can you expect of a
We
TV?
can agree on something.
What can you
on one
expect?
thing?
What can you expect of a TV channel that is headed by a guy who is officially blind?
Yeah, he is blind.
Officially.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I mean, if he can see his programs, because if he cannot see his programs, then how can he confirm them or
Maybe that explains it.
I don't know.
Okay, so
So Itzik the Chinese speaks Hebrew, very eloquent Hebrew, and he knows also all the not all but many of the nuances of Israeli culture and society. But he's not Israeli, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you slice it and dice it. He's not Israeli.
But you are.
Now, this is not what you said. You said, look, everything is inside of you. You speak Hebrew, you eat falafel, you do this and
You
then.
grew up here.
But Itzik is
He
more,
didn't grow up here.
He didn't grow up here, but in terms of acquaintance with the nuances of modern Israeli culture, he's as good as me, if not better. I'm sure that he is more knowledgeable about some Mediterranean singers, all of these singers whose name rhymes with Meretz. And they have the tendency to avoid taxes. He knows them probably better than I do. But it doesn't make him Israeli. So the fact that I'm speaking Hebrew, the fact that I know the area, I know how to find my way, doesn't make me a fan of Israel. It just means that I was born. I mean, every espionage is actually if you go and if you adopt your logic, every espionage is all of a sudden a patriot of the country that is working
How
against.
do you define yourself, if at all?
No, but sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. How do you
define myself in what
Like,
sense? I don't need this, right?
what is
the
this?
headphones?
Headphones, no.
The
Okay.
headphones, yeah, you can.
So how do I define myself in what terms?
Like, I don't know.
Let me ask, but first of all, to the espionage point, I mean, the person who's performing espionage didn't grow up and live in the country. I mean, that's the whole point. He has to fake it to make it. But, I mean...
But he sometimes can fake it very well.
He can fake it very well, but it doesn't actually mean that he has that inside of him, meaning he didn't grow up.
I was
he
born
doesn't
here
speak the
because
language.
of technical coincidence. My parents were here. They gave me birth here in Petah Tikva. I was born in Petah Tikva. Now, what does this make me? Does this make me an Israeli patriot? No. Does this make me a Zionist? No. Does it make me anti-Zionist? Also no. It's just a coincidence. I was born in Petah Tikva. Yes,
I agree
with you.
So to Naor's question, many people, what would you say? Because many people, I think, would, before conducting this interview, I spoke to many people, told them we're interviewing you. Whether we like it or not, you're pretty famous in Israel.
Yeah. I'm not just pretty famous in Israel. I'm one of the 500 most acclaimed in terms of fame academics in the world. I'm listed in the list of the 500 academic celebrities in the world.
So many people claim that you're Israel's public troll number one, meaning. And I don't know if you're familiar with the term troll. Troll is like someone who...
I'm sure he knows what
who basically
I know what you're talking about.
Someone who says provocative things for the sake of being provocative.
All right.
Which, whenever people call me a troll, I'm offended because it kind of implies that I'm just doing what I'm doing in order to be provocative and not because I stand behind what I say. But what would you say to those?
Look, basically, in general, to make a long story short, I have no... it's okay? Not
more or less.
Not,
Before it was better. Oh, that's better. Yes.
עכשיו יותר טוב.
Yes.
Look, basically, I have no feelings whatsoever, positive or negative, towards curses that I receive or shaming campaigns and all of these things. I don't care. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what they think about me. I don't care in general about people. I see people I'm a very functional in my perspective about humankind. So for me, people are creatures that you need to somehow make use of. And I'll give you a very funny example from today in a moment. Not political example, but it's nonetheless funny. So they want to call me troll. They can call me troll. I don't care. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what people think about me, as long as they are feeling the spot that they have to feel in my calculation. Now, the example. Today I got a phone call from a senior staff producer in one of the largest broadcasters. I won't give the name. And she says, my son is a very big fan of yours. He has a bar mitzvah and he asks whether you can attend and give or at least record a blessing. I said, first, in this case, I charge. But in your case, I'm not going to charge. Your connections are worth to me more than without due respect, than the couple of shekels that I will get from you. So if you want me to do that, remember this documentary film about me that you said, I want this documentary film, which, by the way, the director offered to that channel and they refused to take it a couple of months ago. I want it in. And she's finding out. She said, okay, we don't want the film. I said, okay, I don't want to attend your son's bar mitzvah. What do you think? It's tit for tat. You want me to do a favor to you and you're doing a favor to me? I didn't even ask you to pay for that film. I think the director would have given her the film almost for free. I don't have rights over this film, so it's not my issue even. But you want me to to waste my time on making your son, who instead of having an orgy at this early age, you will say, why orgy? I'll tell you in a moment why orgy. So instead of having an orgy, has a bar mitzvah, I have to waste my time.
Can't you do both? Excuse me.
I don't know. They didn't invite me for the orgy, just for the bar mitzvah. Now, it looks to you like orgy at age 13 is ridiculous. But this week we heard about a 9-year-old transgender. So transgender at age 9 is okay, and orgy at 13 is not okay.
So both are not okay.
No, I don't care if people.
What you can't not take a side on anything. They're both not okay, or they're both okay, or they're both. You really just have
They
zero.
are both ridiculous. They are. If you ask me, it's ridiculous. Transgenders are ridiculous, but I don't care. I mean, I don't care. I don't want.
It doesn't bother you that they do what they do.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous.
So you're a libertarian.
I think that somebody at age 9 who decides to change his or her sex, I think is mentally disturbed. But I don't care if he or she is
Him or
mentally
his
disturbed.
parents.
Both, but I don't care. Most likely both, but I don't care. It's not my problem. I don't want to know why people, particularly from religious sects, care about
So
others.
if
Why
you
should I care if you want to be gay?
If you
If
don't
you want
care,
to have, yeah.
if you don't care, so why do you care so much about the occupation and about such things that bother you about Israel?
Very good question. Because occupation is eventually, in the long run, destroying my chances as person who's living here to become part of Europe. This is the problem I have with the occupation.
But don't you have a citizenship?
Yeah, but you asked me to immigrate, and this is also answering your questions that Israel is such a comments that Israel is such an amazing place because everybody has a second passport, and nonetheless they don't live. And I'm telling you, remember Newton's first law: a body shall remain motionless in its position unless there is a force that strongly pushes this body. Now the same thing works here. I mean, immigration is a mess. It's not something easy to do. You still have to tell me why you immigrated, but it's not the default. The default is to stay. I would have preferred this place to become Europe without these Mizrachi Jews, without everything. Just like in Herzl's Tel Aviv novel, everybody's white, everybody's speaking German, everybody's standing in line.
But Europe,
not by
everybody's white.
White, yes.
But
Why?
Europe,
Because I
Hold on.
like it. I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with people of color. But that's the point. Since
But you
I'm
don't
not
want
in an
them
official
around you.
position, I'm not in an official position, and I don't like their culture, and it's my right to say I don't like your culture. I'm not saying you're inferior. I'm not saying that you are bad. I'm not saying that you are dirty. I'm not saying that you have
COVID-19.
So what are you
not
saying about their
COVID-19.
culture?
They are more into having some lice in their head. Why COVID-19? Don't.
What-
But I'm not saying any of these things. You say it, maybe. I
No,
only say that I don't want this
we're
culture.
not saying any of these things.
I don't know what you're saying
Yours-
and not saying. I'm saying that I don't want
we
something
didn't
in my
say
culture.
anything.
It's like with fat women, what I said. What is wrong with fat women? Nothing is wrong. I don't want them in my bed. Am I allowed not to have them in my bed? Or
No,
I should accept
you
them in
are
my
allowed.
bed?
No, but no one's asking you to put Mizrachi Jews in your bed.
No, but I don't want them in my country either. Not because of their origin, because of their culture.
What about their culture bothers you?
Their culture is very, very, very loud, very, very Levantine, very, very populist. They are all the time, whenever you see a Mizrachi Jews celebrating something, it's noisy. You hear them. Think about an airplane when
We
there
were
was...
just in Eitan's China
But
2
on
weeks ago.
that
China, why
basis,
China?
because I married a Yemenite Jew. Thank you very much.
How low can you downgrade? How low? Very
I
low.
kind of want to end this podcast episode right now. I mean, you're speaking about my wife. You realize that that's not only offensive to
No,
in
it's not
general,
offensive to
but it's
anything,
offensive
because
personally.
That's the point. The point is that people have. This is why I believe in free speech. Just a couple of days ago.
No, you can say whatever you want.
I said
about,
I was
you
in,
know,
I was in
I'm
favor
just
of
happy
free
that
speech
I
of
have
Trump.
a wife.
I don't want to offend you. I'm sorry if you're offended, but in my
I think you
opinion,
do wanna
henna
offend.
is something low rate. This is my opinion.
I think you do want to offend.
No, I don't want to offend.
You
Why
don't.
should I offend? I don't know you. But I think
You,
that
you don't want to.
henna-
You're saying you say about my wife, how low can I go, and you don't want to offend.
henna ceremony is low. Yes, in my opinion, henna
No, but
ceremony
you didn't say
is
the
low.
China is low.
You said henna. I took part with it. I had a
Okay,
henna.
let's say he said it about the China. And by the way, I can agree that China is primitive. It's a primitive ceremony.
You want to agree?
No, I just agree on that.
It's an
For
Arab
many
style
Ashkenazis,
ceremony. It's very
I can
similar
tell
to
you-
Arab ceremonies, Arab weddings.
I can tell you that for many Ashkenazis, China, the ceremony, is a primitive ceremony. I think it's a legitimate stance. That's very particular stance. It's nothing personal in that case. Don't you see any
I don't
any
think
sense
so. I
in
think
that?
ceremonies in general, you could probably call any ceremony, a birthday, you could call primitive. To celebrate the day you exited the womb of your mother, primitive. I mean, what's the difference? You could call any wedding ceremony primitive. The point is you're marking a union. You're marking some special date in time
Weddings
with a
are
ceremony.
also a bit
so
primitive.
you can so everything's primitive, and then you just basically want to destruct society, which I think stands at the crux of this. Is that, and I sense that in you, that there is this desire there, and that's why I asked the question originally: is there any country you want to emulate, or is there anything good you can say about Israel? Because it feels to me that you're against the world.
Let me answer you. I want to answer you. I want to give you a good answer. Again, I'm sorry if you're offended. I didn't mean to offend you. I have my
You cannot
opinion.
say you didn't mean to offend
No,
when you
I want
said
to-
when you said about my wife, how low can
I
you go?
said about
which I
China
just
ceremony,
married
and
5
this is
days
my
ago.
opinion.
So,
But, good luck and happy matrimony. By the way,
So can you
matrimony
say something
is also,
nice about,
matrimony? No, I don't have anything nice to say
Okay.
about matrimony.
Well, there you go.
This is the truth. But this is the truth. It was
No,
about
that's
matrimony.
legitimate not to say something about
There
matrimony.
are millions of people in the world who have bad opinion
Okay,
about
you wanted
matrimony.
to-
I wanted to answer you. Look, when I all the time say Europe and people ask me why Europe, what do you have to do with Europe? Let me try to explain. There is something, I agree, very degenerated, very apocalyptic even about Europe nowadays. It's an aging continent. People are separating one from another. Many single person families, clear isolation. Take Sweden, take Scandinavia. It's very clear over there, and I like it. I don't want people to peep into my life. I don't like all of this noisiness. What do I have against China? The fact that again people are all above your head starting to do this hand clapping, and I feel that. Sorry, I feel like in a zoo. It's not me. I hate this culture. I hate the touch. I hate mobs. I hate.
Yeah, but the fact is that I'm sorry, but I have to get the record straight. I said I married a Yemenite Jew, and you said your response was, "How low can you go?" So,
From a perspective,
whether
it
or
is
not you have a
good-
problem with the culture, the problem here is that you are judging individuals based on your some kind of, I don't know, I would call it cheap analysis of a culture. But you're judging individuals based on that very cheap analysis of a culture. So without knowing who my wife is, based on the fact that she's a Yemenite, you said, how low can you go? Which seems to me very lazy intellectually.
First, this is a legitimate criticism of me. I have no problem with this criticism. I know where it comes from. It is legitimate.
So, I mean, are you going to back it up? Or?
No, I think that...
So it was a mistake.
No, I think that using a kind of a pecking order or ranking cultures is legitimate. We are not all equal. Let me ask you something.
Ranking cultures, but then...
And ranking people based on their cultural belonging.
So making a prejudgment about a specific individual based on their culture is legitimate.
Let me ask you, if I were wrong, why is it that all of a sudden you see a movement of young, nice-looking Ukrainian women marrying elderly, divorced, often with kids, European men? Why? And also Israelis, by the way. Why do you see that? Why you don't see all of a sudden a movement of very nice, good-looking Israeli women marrying ugly, middle-aged plumbers from Ukraine? Why you don't see it? Because apparently Israeli passport is ranked higher than Ukrainian passport. That's
yeah, because
it. That's
Israel
life.
is
C'est la
a
vie.
wonderful free democracy. So you would agree that Israel's a wonderful free democracy.
That Israeli passport ranks higher than the Ukrainian passport. Obviously, it's true. I'm not saying that we are in the worst part of the world, but I'm saying that if you have Iceland, Israel, Yemen, this is the
I want to
order.
point out
Iceland, Israel,
some
Yemen.
contradictions.
No, but you were making comments about Yemenite Jews, meaning Yemen. These aren't
Who have
Yemenites.
been here
that
for
are- these
hundreds
are-
of years,
Yeah.
at least 100 years.
But usually, and again, there are exceptions of the rule, obviously, but usually these Yemenite Jews are of the lower
I don't think
tier.
it's true anymore.
European
You grew up-
European culture has within it a certain gene of committing genocide. You know, I mean, you cannot deny that if you come from Europe, you know, you have a
pogroms, at the very
history
least.
of murdering millions of innocent people. So I, would say to you, why are you so genocidal?
Am I? I don't know. You think that I'm the late?
You are a part of your
third-
culture. Why are you genocidal?
Third great cousin of Hitler. What do you want from
You're
me?
European, and you not
So
only
what?
you not only descend from European, bloodline. And I again am using your logic, but you seem to prop up European culture as something to be valued. So again, I ask, why are you so genocidal? Why are you,
Alcoholic.
an alcoholic?
I don't. You drink beer and you see that I drink water just for the sake of
But
showing
I
it to the
drink it
cameras.
moderately.
Yeah. No, I did. If there's one thing I didn't say you're alcoholic. I said many bad things. Alcoholic, I didn't say.
No, but the point Eitan is making is that the same way you assume about whole people based on their
I'm
the country
saying
they're
you're
coming
trying.
from.
Look, you are trying to be politically correct and to delude yourself. And we all know that within Israel there is a clear correlation
But that-
between
it changes.
ethnic origin. Just a second. Ethnic origin and poverty, ethnic origin and progressive views, and so on and so on and so on. And now you want to tell me that the richest tiers in society in Israel are Yemenite Jews? Okay, say it. Sorry, it is untrue.
Not the
I
richest.
say for every rich Ashkenazi Jew, I can show you a rich Moroccan or Yemenite Jew. In 2000, I couldn't
But
do
it's-
that
it's
40
a
years
game
ago.
Of, a game of numbers.
I couldn't do it 40 years ago. But now, but as the years progress, I feel that I can do that.
But
You
dear,
know,
we
I-
are talking about numbers. You're talking to me about utopian visions. I'm not even saying that I'm necessarily against your utopian vision. But I am telling you that there are numbers, there are statistics, and you are trying to I don't know, delude yourself that the numbers are.
I'm not trying to delude myself, and I don't think that a conversation about culture is not to be had. And I think that, we've had conversations on this podcast about culture, and for example, the black culture in the United States, or the black community in the United States.
Also, it's worth mentioning
statistically having issues. But hold on, I just want to complete this thought.
Yeah.
But there is a gross, logical transgression, ethical transgression in your thinking, that you making extrapolation and deduction, that it just doesn't make any sense to take from a culture and to ascribe to an individual. That is exactly the wrong direction. So you can say maybe there's a problem with, and again, you can say there are certain problems with a culture, but you seem to be ranking cultures and saying this culture is in a whole better than this, and because of that, this entire culture is void, in my opinion. And not only that, but every person that is a part of that culture is void, in my opinion. Because again, to repeat, and you can take it back if you want and backpedal, but I said I married a Yemenite Jew, and you said, how low can you go?
Look, I have a girlfriend who is Turkish, not Jewish Turkish, 100% Turkish, and she says I'm coming from a low-rate culture, ugly third world state, where mom is wearing a mop on her head, very poor family. And for me, the aim was to progress to Europe and to do it through a European mate. You, Amir, are my progress. She can say it. Why cannot I say that Iceland for me is my progress and that Yemen for me is a regression? Why cannot I say?
But again, you're not talking to the point. I said that's fine to talk about cultures in a whole and to talk about them statistically. Then you could talk about them dryly. But to extrapolate or to deduct that from a culture that means something specific about an individual.
I didn't say anything specific about your wife. I don't know her. I have nothing to say about her, good or bad.
I want to point out a contradiction in your theory. When you say that you want Israel to be 100% European and white, okay? But
white in culture. White in culture.
But
yes.
Europe itself, in a few right now, areas in Europe are not white in culture, and you see more and more countries. So
I think that
don't you see the irony?
I mean,
it's worse in Marseille or in Sweden, in Malmo.
It's not only provocative to say white in culture, but it is again intellectually lazy. There is nothing about the culture that is white. There is something about the culture that is Western.
Call it Western, okay.
Okay. I think it makes a huge difference.
I think that immigrants. I'll tell you, I'm against mass immigration. To make a long story short, I'm in favor of accepting labor migrants.
But it's a done deal in Germany, in France.
It's a very stupid done
Sweden.
deal. I agree with you.
So isn't it more?
I think
we better off here?
If I were to vote in German elections, I would vote for candidates who support evicting them, or at least making
the
their
far
life.
right.
In some cases,
The
yes.
far right.
Yeah, in some cases.
And
in some
here you would vote for the far left.
No, because here
apparently.
the problem is like this. Here the problem is more complicated. We are willing to become the landfill of the world as long as we accept Jewish trash. So if somebody jumps off the tree in some African country, let's not name this African country, off the tree he jumps, he has a yarmulke on his head, he has a paperwork that shows that he is Jewish, he's welcome to come here, he gets 300,000 shekels and he's going to have amazingly good life in the Dora neighborhood of Netanya. If, on the other hand, the neighbor of this guy also jumps off the tree, everything same, no yarmulke, no paperwork showing he's Jewish, he's not going to get a nice apartment in Dora neighborhood in Netanya, he's going to be evicted, he's going to have a very tough life. Now, if you ask me, both should be out. Not both in, both out.
I mean, there are Moroccan...
I'm against the law of return.
There are Moroccan Jews.
That is known.
There are
It's
Moroccan Jews, Tunisian Jews, Algerian Jews, Yemenite Jews who have built businesses here and employed, tens, hundreds, thousands of people. There are people who have done something to make a difference in other people's lives.
Who represented
So I
that in
don't
Eurovisions and millions of Europeans
So I
voted
don't
for
understand.
them.
Did you hear me say that there is no
You said that they're
single
trash.
Moroccan Jew who is smart? No,
But
I
on a
said
whole, they're
I'm
trash.
saying I abide my words and I don't take back my words. I say, and it is the basics of the law of return. The law of return says that anyone, with the exception of very, very severe criminals, who has paperwork that show that he is Jewish or descendant of a Jew, is welcome here. Why? Because Hitler prosecuted Jews, which is correct. But for goodness sake, am I responsible for Hitler's atrocities? Because Hitler prosecuted Jews in Europe 80 years ago, I have to take some trash from Africa 80 years later? Why? How is it related? I'm not saying that Hitler was a good person.
I'm going to have to ask you to
all.
explain why you use the word trash.
Because these are people who don't get a visa elsewhere.
Okay,
and I give you a proof that I'm right. I want to give you a proof.
I just want to explain my question, because trash is something that you discard in a trash can, and then you end up taking out to the dumpster and putting in a landfill because you want or you want to burn it. That's trash. So are you equating these people to trash?
To me, trash equals a person who cannot get a visa to anywhere else in the world. This is my definition.
The word trash in the English language means something you discard of and you neglect, die, you hope it decomposes. That's trash. It's something that you're done with. So I'm saying, but why use that word? Because language...
Wow.
Oh, yeah. The light died.
What is it?
It's the light of the camera. But why use the word trash?
Because this is my manner of speech. But to give you I want to give you a proof that I'm correct. There was an amazing experiment being done without an attempt even some 20 years ago in Germany and the former Soviet Union countries. What was the attempt? The Germans have decided to rebuild the Jewry in Germany by accepting Jews from the ex-Soviet Union countries to Germany, Jews that had nothing to do with German culture, nothing to do with Germany whatsoever ever in their life, but they were Jews. They were planning to move out of the ex-Soviet Union countries, and it's very clear why, because these are poor countries. So he said to them, you are welcome in Germany. Alternatively, they could, of course, immigrate to Israel. In Israel, we have given them better financial offer in terms of perks for absorption, and the Germans gave them less. They just gave them more or less citizenship and free German lessons. That's it. Now, in those years, it was between, if I'm not mistaken, don't catch me by the number, but I think it was 1998 to 2002, the number of Jews from countries such as Russia, Ukraine, who have chosen to move to Germany and not to Israel was by far larger. Why?
We also know that Israel blocked the opportunity for Russians in the early 90s to immigrate to Germany.
No, but the Germans gave them opportunity in the late 90s. The Germans gave them opportunity.
But I'm saying in the early 90s, Israel blocked this option from them. Otherwise, many of them would probably also go to Germany.
And this shows you how attractive you are. What is your real value in the international index? This gives you the real value in the international index. And then you are mad at me because I said that Yemen is downgrade. Sorry, this is life. Germany here, Israel here, Yemen there. That's life.
But according to some arbitrary list that you keep citing, so okay, if you make a list of which passports are most sought after, that is based on that you should judge individuals?
I'm saying that you have here large number of individuals who have chosen, they don't know me, they never heard of Amir Hetsroni, they never read anything that I ever wrote, and I didn't write it 20 years ago, and nonetheless they prefer to move to Germany and not move to your land of milk and honey. So maybe you should ask yourself, what is my actual value?
What you're citing is fairly anecdotal. I mean, it's not
very
a large
anecdotal
number.
Because you didn't read the others moving, as he said, and he was correct.
It's not a large. I mean, again, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, people aren't leaving Israel en masse. The population is growing at a higher rate than ever. It's. I mean, people are leaving. There's emigration from every nation.
Now many are coming back.
But people are not leaving en masse. Many people are coming back. I mean, Israel is a stable country population-wise.
And according to polls, Israelis are happy here.
So we can cite anecdotal information about certain groups of people that are leaving or that want to leave. But again, if you keep talking about statistics and looking at the big picture and taking in the facts into account, so the facts don't show the fact that Israel is, I don't know, bleeding.
But you're also ignoring some facts here. You're also ignoring, for example, the basic characteristics of those who do immigrate. I mean, who is really doing this relocation? Are we talking here about plumbers? No, we are talking about usually computer scientists, engineers, specialists who say, I prefer to earn more money. Yeah, and they the best of the best prefer to move elsewhere. And you are left with plumbers because, yes, I agree with you, to be a blue collar... The best of the best prefer
to move elsewhere. No, they prefer to move to the United States, where maybe some of the biggest countries in the world, in the end, the United States is a country of 325 million people. It's one of the it's the superpower. So of course it has huge multinational conglomerates that can offer money that some companies in Israel can't offer. So of course it's going to pull away some of the best of the best, but some of the best still decide to stay here. And there's a reason they come here to recruit. Because we have a country that is free and that is democratized and that allows smart, strong minds to grow.
From all cultures.
They are also recruiting in India and China.
From all cultures.
Actually, India and China also have and
the point is, look, the truth eventually is that, yes,
the difference is that India and China have over 1 billion each. So they're bound to have one or two people that you want to recruit from there. But when you're comparing two countries that accumulate that together have more than probably 2.5 billion people to a company that has barely 10 million, not even 10 million.
Why are there more foreign workers in the Czech Republic, for example, which is not the highest tier European state, than in Israel? I mean, most of the specialists, if you ask, do you prefer to relocate to Tel Aviv or to relocate to Prague? They would say Prague. Let's be honest. Let's not delude ourselves.
Look, but
and I've chosen a country that I have no involvement with.
Can we agree that Israel's rank throughout the years in your list, if we take your list and your ranking, Israel's place between 1950 and 2020 has improved immensely.
Yes.
Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Immensely,
I agree to that.
Okay.
But you have also to remember, and again, this is a game of numbers. It's not my opinion.
But
it's
numbers
in the last 15 years, we are more or less in the same ranking. Yes, we are more or less equal, more or less in par with Southern Europe.
GDP has risen.
But the prices here are high. GDP per capita with purchase power in Israel is more or less on par with Southern Europe, more or less on par with Czech Republic, Malta. This is our surroundings.
What?
You're not in the area of Luxembourg. You're not in the area of Norway.
But our GDP is like Britain's. But you
person and purchase power. You have to add to the fact
GDP
that
per capita.
Per capita, and you have to also add this purchase power because people earn here high salaries, but the prices are high. Therefore, Israel is the last place, for example, to retire to. Why? Because if you retire, if you live there all your life and you get a good pension, okay, you can live here as a retiree. But if you earned your salary, let's say in Germany, and you're coming here, all of a sudden the prices seem very, very high to you because the prices here are higher.
Germany is not surrounded by populations that want to destruct them.
And because of that, you have to pay more money for ananas. Forget about it, please.
No,
please don't
for
say
ananas,
me this.
no. I think for ananas, we can agree that the cartel is to blame.
Everything here is expensive. Everything here is ugly. You don't have historic building. The architecture is ugly. The prices per square meter here are very, very high. The prices per square meter in Kiryat Malachi are similar almost to the price per square meter in Berlin. Berlin is the center of the world, and Kiryat Malachi is in the best case scenario the center of Be'er Tuvia. So let's.
I don't know. High prices means people want it.
People want it because, in a way, you also have to give consideration to the fact that it's not easy to live this place. It is an island to many, many extent. It is an island. Families are rooted here. Israeli culture, Israeli society is very family orientated. Moving out of here means not moving usually alone, but moving with a very large family. It's not easy to move with a large family. Many people, unlike you and me, are not lucky to have a second passport. Many people, unlike you and unlike me, have their degree not from a good university, but from a mediocre college. Many people, unlike you...
I don't have a degree.
I don't want to say anything. You plan to have one?
Huh?
You plan to have one?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm doing just fine without one, though.
Okay.
He almost had one.
But I'm doing just fine without one.
What do you mean almost had one?
I studied for 2 years and then left.
We studied together.
What did you study, actually?
Film.
Film?
Yes.
In Tel Aviv?
Is it? Yeah, in Tel Aviv University. Almost as useless as communications.
No, less useless because you learn technicalities that you can use.
Yeah, like making documentaries, which bring us very quickly. Tell us about the documentary and where can people...
It's totally apolitical, the documentary about me. Documentary about
I'm
me...
sure.
No, it is apolitical. It's a film about the hardships of my relationship with my former girlfriend against the backdrop of my father's death in 2016. A proper disclosure. My father's death is now in the centerfold of a legal lawsuit that I have submitted against the hospital that, in my opinion, killed him. The church will decide, or the judge will decide. And the film is about that period. It includes even the reservation and the establishment of the famous epitaph that you have cited at the beginning, my father's epitaph at the cemetery. It is shown there. And the film won the...
What's its name?
Case study.
Okay.
Amir Hetsroni case study. It won the award in the Swiss International Film Festival recently, and it doesn't manage to get any distributor or screen in Israel, which shows you how much I'm discriminated. And I must say this sentence, it's not about the film. But in my opinion, as I said, I'm very functional. People have some role in life, and the role, I mean, and I'm not against mutuality. I mean, if I do you a favor and it's okay if you do me a favor and so on, but if you're all the time being discriminated in a place, then this place has no reason to exist. This is why I hate Israel. A country that doesn't give me a show on prime time has no reason to exist, as simple as that. And if this country was Palestinian and anti-Zionist, I would have said the same thing. Take my word.
Okay.
Because I am naturally born egotistic and I'm proud of it.
Well,
but a fair egotistic.
I think you're just a libertarian.
You're libertarian, but a fair one. I'm not trying to...
No, I don't think libertarians think that nationhood is based on the willingness of media corporations to...
I'm eclectic. I'm more eclectic than libertarian.
To broadcast
I have some
movies.
libertarian elements, but I'm eclectic.
Yeah, okay.
Can the movie be seen online? Can you pay to get it?
Not yet, because the director tries to get more response from additional festivals, and then hope to somehow...
You're on social media?
I'm social media.
In English? Something in English or mainly Hebrew?
No, I have. I have my own column in Times of Israel.
Okay.
Which I update like once in 3, 4, 5 months.
In the blog.
Yeah, it's not regularly updated.
Okay.
We'll put the link to it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go, we have a collaboration with the Jewish Journal. Check them out at jewishjournal.com for articles, podcasts, Pandemic Times with David Suissa. So highly recommended. Also,
Arutz Sheva, we have a collaboration with them, israelnationalnews.com.
they're going to love you.
Check them out on Facebook as
No,
well.
actually, they are pretty fair. Here, I can say something good
Yeah?
about them. They
Okay.
were pretty fair in their reporting on me.
Okay.
Okay, so Israel
I even
National
wrote them
News-
once an article.
Okay.
IsraelNationalNews.com. Pretty fair in their reporting of Amir Hetsroni. IsraelNationalNews.com, guys, check them out. Also,
Australian Jewish News, ajn.timesofisrael.com for everything that's related to the community in Australia. That is it. Help us out. Donate to njb.com/donate. And that's it. Professor Hetsroni, thank you
thank you
so
very
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
joining us.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.